From rumors of Sony trying to add a new character to its cinematic universe, to how this might lead into a planned crossover event with the MCU Spider-Man, here's everything you need to know about Ana de Armas potentially playing Spider-Woman. Sony's trying to use this new character to expand the SSU, short for the Sony Spider-Man universe, and Spider-Woman might be the latest addition to the parallel franchise. You see, Sony was hurt pretty bad when it lost Spider-Man to the MCU, because up until a deal was struck, the studio held exclusive rights to any on-screen portrayals of the Wallcrawler. The MCU saw enormous success in the early 2010s, so Sony tried their hand at starting their own saga with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Unfortunately, the film's disappointing box office performance ruined the studio's plans, forcing Sony to collaborate with the MCU for any future Spider-Man content. Having the character in the MCU was a big win for the fans, but it meant that Sony had to get creative if it still wanted to make its own superhero movies. They focused more on Spider-Man adjacent characters, starting with Venom back in 2018 and following it up with Let There Be Carnage in 2021. Of course, the franchise's third installment, Morbius, was so bad that it became an internet meme, but Sony showed no signs of stopping. There are already 3 more major SSU installments in the pipeline, with Kraven the Hunter getting his own film. Aaron Taylor Johnson's in the lead role, and when the film comes out in October 2024, it'll reveal whether the SSU can survive outside of the successful Venom films. The lack of female representation was becoming a real problem, no doubt, which might be why Sony's looking to make a Spider-Woman movie as well. But then again, there's another highly anticipated movie on the cards named Madam Web, and it might complicate Sony's plans for a film centered around Spider-Woman. You see, Madam Web's the name of a popular Marvel character with psychic powers. Her real name's Cassandra Webb, and she's one of Spider-Man's frequent allies. This fits Sony's needs in terms of women-led projects, and what's more, the 2024 film also has a Spider-Woman character. Dakota Johnson will be playing Madam Web, with Sydney Sweeney playing Julia Carpenter, aka the Spider-Woman. This begs the question, how will Ana de Armas play the same character if they're both in the same universe? Sony's been planning a Spider-Woman movie for quite some time now, and if she's showing up in Madam Web, something tells me she'll be the star of the upcoming project. That said, there's more than one version of Spider-Woman out there. In fact, Julia Carpenter's not even the first person to take on the mantle. That honor belongs to the one and only Jessica Drew, and I'm willing to bet she's the one Anna might portray. In case you don't know, Drew debuted back in 1977, a full 7 years before Carpenter joined the party. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you might know of a supervillain called the High Evolutionary. It turns out that Jessica Drew's dad, Jonathan, worked for the guy, although this was before he became a proper supervillain. Part of Jonathan's research involved studying the properties of arachnids and how they evolved. And when his daughter fell sick, he decided to use some spider blood to create a healing serum. The goal here was to protect Jessica from uranium poisoning, because even though the family was British by birth, Jonathan's job took them to the highly radioactive land of Transia. Now, the serum didn't work on its own, so Jonathan had to keep his child in a so-called genetic accelerator to make it work faster. It took decades for Jessica to recover, and when she emerged, she had some trouble getting back into society. She also has crazy powers like bioelectric blasts, which makes her similar to Miles Morales. The lack of a support system, coupled with her uncontrollable powers, made Drew an outcast, and eventually she ends up working for Hydra. Mentalo brainwashes her into thinking she's fighting the good fight. But in her first mission, she realizes that Hydra's got some messed up priorities. What's interesting is that her first mark was none other than Nick Fury. And if Drew hadn't refused to assassinate him on moral grounds, S.H.I.E.L.D. may have been left without a leader. Luckily, Drew's strong enough to break free of the brainwashing, and after finally regaining her memories, she takes up the Spider-Woman moniker. The rest of her story sees her occasionally working with S.H.I.E.L.D., going up against her former captors at Hydra, and even losing her powers. But throughout all of it, she remained one of the most compelling Marvel characters ever. Clearly, Jessica Drew has a lot to bring to the table, perhaps even becoming the new center of the SSU, and Ana de Armas is the perfect choice for the lead role. She's really come up in recent years, with Knives Out putting her on the map. She also showed some action chops in No Time to Die and Ghosted, so it's safe to say that the film's in good hands if she gets cast. Oh, and did I mention Olivia Wilde is in the running as director? That's yet another stunning choice by the folks at Sony. Plus, they're also eyeing Rebecca Ferguson to play the antagonist. But, as much as I'd like to call this a done deal, this isn't the first time DeArmas was connected to an upcoming superhero film. Word on the street is she was supposed to be the front-runner for Catwoman in the Batman, but the role ended up going to Zoe Kravitz instead. On top of that, Anna was rumored to appear in the upcoming El Muerto movie, which would have brought yet another Spider-Man side character to the fore. Not only did the El Muerto role fall through, but Sony straight up removed it from their release schedule. Anna doesn't have the best of luck when it comes to superhero movies, so there's a chance she won't bag this role either. You've got to understand, all Sony wants is a capable actress between 25 and 35 years old, and there's plenty of other stars that fit the bill. Haley Steinfeld's come up a few times, and you have to admit, she'd make a great Spiderwoman. I mean, she already has experience playing a Spider-Man character with her role as Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies, winning her widespread acclaim. Not only that, but she's also shown up in live-action superhero projects like Hawkeye, where she played Clint Barton's supposed successor, Kate Bishop. So I'd say that she's one of the strongest contenders for the role. She's not the only one, though. Alexandra Daddario's another rumored choice, and she has some superhero experience too, after playing Lois Lane in the animated Man of Tomorrow. Granted, she's never played the role in a live-action project, but with a highly praised performance on White Lotus under her belt, Alexandra's not exactly a newbie. She was also reportedly in the running to play Lois in Superman Legacy, and now that she's lost the part to Rachel Brosnahan, she might need a role like Spider-Woman to compensate. No matter who gets cast, Spider-Woman will probably be a major player in the SSU, and funnily enough, the mid-credit scene for Morbius might have set up a future storyline for the character. Apparently, Sony's working on a crossover event that'll pit Spider-Man against the Sinister Six. I doubt many of you watched the disastrous film, so you might have missed the mid-credit sequence where Michael Keaton's Vulture shows up. This is the same Adrian Toomes we saw in the MCU, and he was able to hop into the SSU thanks to Doctor Strange's multiverse spell. Him and Morbius decide to work with each other, and together, they'll lay the foundations for the dreaded Sinister Six. Sony's planning to add more villains to round off the team, and since Kraven the Hunter's another original member, I'm assuming he'll be joining the group too, along with Tom Hardy's Venom. As if that wasn't enough, Sony's also trying to get Tom Holland to play Spider-Man in the crossover event. There's tons of overlap between the MCU and SSU already. Venom traveled to the MCU's timeline in Let There Be Carnage, and when Doctor Strange reversed the spell in No Way Home, he got back to his own world, but not before he left a sliver of the symbiote behind. With Tom Holland's Spider-Man severing all connections to his past life, the stage is set for him to make a brief trip to the SSU, and he might end up there while investigating the Venom symbiote. He'll need all the help he can get if he's up against 6 supervillains, which will give Ana de Armas her chance to shine as Spider-Woman. So from potentially leading up to a crossover event in the planned Sinister Six movie, to Sony using the character to boost their ever-expanding SSU, this was everything you needed to know about Ana de Armas' rumored Spider-Woman role.